All right, what's up, fam? So, we back for the second episode. Me and the homies been talking. And today we touching on Kendrick Lamar's new album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. So today I invited my poet homies, I invited my musician homie, I invited my therapist homies. We finna get into this. We finna unpack this. You know, we all come from different realms, different dimensions. You know, as a wellness consultant, I just thought it was imperative to just look at it from different angles, and also people could really unpack it at a certain magnitude, and not just one person, two people, three people. Just going, I need everything. I wanted everything. It just made sense. But yeah, so welcome back. I'm Miss Slay once again. Hey, before we move on over to my homies, let's talk about our wellness tip. So today our wellness tip is going to be clarity. Clarity. So when you think about clarity, just think about the words that pop up, right? For me, clarity means clear. Clarity means concise, understood, get to the point. Now I can make some strategy with my clarity. But if there's no clarity, it will be confusion. Let's get clear, fam. I'm talking to y'all and talking to me. We're doing this together. Y'all know this. Anywho, no further ado. We see you, we love you, and we got you. All right, let's go. All right, fam, love you. All right, guys, once again, I want to say thank you so much for allowing these beautiful people to be here and making it safely. And also, them saying yes. I'm very excited for us to dive into this, to just being vulnerable, right? Talking about healing and just opening up doors for other individuals who may be dealing with some things, right? And just looking for a way out. But I just want to just bless all of them, myself as well, and just say thank you so much for this moment. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen. All right, we back. Okay. So today we will be talking about Kendrick Lamar's new album, Mr. Morale and the Big Steppers. Music is my love language, okay? So when I heard this, I was like, oh, you on next. You being vulnerable. So many people were telling me, listen to it. So I was like, because if I listen to it, then I got to get into it. And if I get into it, then it's going to be like, man, I ain't got time right now. But I had time today. And every other day following this. Just like with Chance the Rapper's coloring book, this album right now is really my mantra, right? It's really speaking to me on a different level. And not only to me, but just, our beautiful Black men who didn't have their voice. Or if they have a voice, they didn't have the platform. We're going to talk about a couple of these platforms we got right now. Okay, so first up we have Miss Erica D. Our first therapist coming up. It was very imperative for me to bring you all in as therapists, right? Because as a wellness consultant, I can unpack a couple of things, but y'all looking at it on a whole different spectrum. And a lot of us, we hear therapists, but many of us can't afford it. Some of us like, I can do this work myself. Others like, I get to it next time. So I'm excited to see what you all have to say. And Miss Erica will be representing Esteem Wellness Center. Okay, private practice. Whoop, whoop.
Thank you very much.
Come on, Black woman.
Thank you very much. Definitely grateful to be here. Thank you for inviting me. And I can't wait to share some perspective because it definitely was hidden. And listen to that purposefully with the lyrics. Yeah, I'm ready.
You feel some things. Thank you for being here. Thank you so much. All right, next we have Miss Camille Iman. She is a poet and an artist. Okay, love is my love language. I love therapy, but poetry, you all, you know what I'm saying? Like, it hits on a different level, okay? So the fact that y'all be using the words the way I use the words, I'm just saying. But thank you so much for being here, sis. Anything you want to share with us before we get started?
Just starting with grace and gratitude, and thank you for shouting me out and putting smiles on all of our faces, creating the space. We're glad to be here.
So happy you could make it. Next we got Miss Key. What you doing, Miss Key? That's our next therapist. Shout out to the Black women in the room. So what you said, Neil. But so Miss Key coming in as a therapist. Once again, sis, thank you for showing up beforehand and us, having a conversation. I really want you to touch on some things that you said. Because we was about to have a session before I had a session with you all. But I said, okay, come back. We gotta pause, come back. So Miss Key does have a blog coming up. The Goldilocks Therapist. I love it. Did I get it right, Miss Key?
You did. Y'all gonna have to push me.
I did my homework, y'all.
So I'm gonna have to push myself. I've been trying to come up with this for a while now, and I'm trying to figure out exactly how I want to execute. But I think it's gonna be amazing once I actually do it.
Absolutely. It seems impossible until you do it, right?
Right.
And I am someone who, from time to time, just suffer from imposter syndrome. I know I got it, y'all. You know what I'm saying? Just like y'all know y'all got it. But it's like when you like, I gotta do it though. Yeah, you gotta do it. So you got this. We're gonna hold you accountable, sis. We're gonna hold you accountable. Next we got Nell. What's up, Nell? Another poet in the building. Y'all, when I say I'm getting everybody. How you doing, sis?
I am blessed, and I just want to say thank you for the opportunity. This is my first podcast, and I just love you in general. So, whatever you need me to do, you just, I got you. But I do appreciate the opportunity and all beautiful Black people, and I just want to, take some time to be in this, so I appreciate it.
Thank you for being here. This your first podcast?
First podcast, girl. Yes.
This is my second episode, so we're gonna do this together. Okay. But so yeah, it's written by Nell. Everyone I'm mentioning will be in the description box. So yeah, y'all will be able to keep up with them, okay? Next we have Armand. What's up, musician? How you doing? It's okay. You saw what I had to go through.
Hello.
Okay.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah, we got you. You there.
I'm looking like an old man on here. Nah, how y'all doing? I make music. I like to rap, express myself. I'm just grateful to be on the platform. I love Kendrick. He's one of my favorite artists, and I love discussion. So I'm excited to get into it with y'all.
Absolutely. I'm excited to hear what you have to say, sir. For sure. We have Mr. Jeremiah Berry, JB. Come to find out, not only do we have a therapist in the building, this young brother is also a poet, y'all. And then y'all understand, I done told y'all how I feel about the poetry, okay? My home is inspired by Love Jones, but it's a lot of things in it that we're not gonna discuss because I watched it again as an adult, and I just wasn't agreeing with some things that happened. Anywho, Mr. Jeremiah Berry, how are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Thank you for inviting me. I'm really excited to talk a little bit about this album, primarily because I believe that poetry or music is therapy. And so what it'll be interesting is how we'll be able to take the two and dissect them, but then also realize how they're consistent in so many ways. So I'm really, really excited to see what, we put our heads together and get to talking about this evening. Thanks.
Absolutely. And Mr. Jeremiah Berry is representing Shelby County Youth and Family Resource Center. Near and dear, we need it. Thank you for the work you're doing and beyond. Sorry, thank you so much. All right. Last but of course not least, Mr. Sir Michael Wayne III. How you doing, brother?
I'm well. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. All right, Mr. Sir Michael Wayne is a writer, actor, and performing artist. Y'all definitely want to join his mailing list. It'll be below. Everyone will be below in the description box. Because I'm pretty sure after this, y'all gonna want to keep up with him. And if you don't, just say something about you. I'm just kidding. We love everyone. We love everyone. Did I miss anything? Did I catch it?
No, you got it all. You got it all. Thanks for having me. I am happy to join the conversation. Excited to listen. And, I promise to be honest.
That's what I want from everybody. This is a safe space. It's nothing but filled with love. We will be unpacking this album just on the realms of wellness, right? Transparency, and just being vulnerable. So being honest is for sure what we ask for. But before we keep going, do you want to talk about your production? Your production that you have, Mr. Sir Michael Wayne.
Well, thank you. I'll say a little bit. I am a performing artist. I am a poet. I am an actor. I'm a writer. I just debuted a one-man show that involves poetry, rap, storytelling, and kind of rhythm and verse as we tell a 60-minute story about the different thoughts that occupy the head space of a unique and individual Black man. This show is new. We debuted it in Oakland, California, sold out 6 shows. We moved it to San Francisco for 2 weekends and sold out another weekend. And now we're looking to take it to DC next as we chart a course to Broadway and hopefully a national and international tour. So I love rap music as a literature, as a writing form. And I've grown up on it in a certain way as a music form. And Kendrick, he makes good music, but he really makes interesting artwork. And so I'm excited to talk with so many diverse minds and opinions about it. Fun stuff.
Absolutely. Definitely wanted for him to highlight it because so many of you all are on your one woman, one man show, right? Everyone is just trying to figure out what's going to be that next step for me to go ahead and step out into my purpose. I've seen a couple of you all perform. I've heard you all. So I think it's so important for, our kids and kids who are watching to understand that nothing is impossible. Nothing is impossible. Erica, you done sit up here and got the private practice. Come on now. Now you stepping into your power as far as poetry. Jeremiah Berry helping the kids, also speaking to the kids, you know what I'm saying, therapy and also with the poetry. And Miss Key doing the therapy as well as gonna step into her realm as well and give it on a different platform, right? Camille Munn, the educator, the artist, and the poet, like I said, and just saying I'm on as well. I've watched you all, right? You just never know who's watching. And I'm so inspired. I'm so thankful. And I definitely wanted just to highlight you all and highlight what you're doing. If you'll be like, oh, I can't sleep on myself, please don't, because I'm not sleeping. And hold me accountable too, y'all, because I'm telling y'all, I be trying to run up on the plug. Feel me? But I gotta sit down. Okay, first question for us. Okay, so I'm gonna be asking these pretty much kind of sporadically, right? Because there's a lot of us in the building. So I'm gonna kind of pick you, then go to the next question, okay? So upon listening to this album, what was your initial reaction? As let's see who I want to go. Erica, as a therapist.
I knew it.
And elaborate, please. It's because of the E in your name.
Well, they do call me E for a reason. And it's because I'm educated. Well, so first impression, honestly, was that's a piece of artwork. When I was listening to it, I recognized that, you know, a lot of times when you listen to music, and I think several people said it, like, you listen to music for feel. So as a therapist, one of the biggest things that I do with my clients is express the need to feel, and that there are no bad feelings. All feelings are good, right? Because they tell you what something has done to you. And one thing about his lyrics, and I think it's one of them, I can't think what it was, but it's just like, fuck you, nigga, fuck you, fuck you, fuck you. And it's just like,
him and the
it's so raw, yeah. And you know, and like the feel of it lets you know something so unique that it almost is something you can't describe with words. And I think that's the beautiful thing about the Black experience, to where no matter how in life, and I'm gonna go ahead and take us there real early, how no matter in life, how people try to appropriate us and how they try to commercialize us and use us as the new fad. Especially I have a lot of clients that be like, you know, people tell me I'm not Black enough or whatever. I'm like, baby, you woke up Black. Everything I do is Black. However I talk is AAVE. I don't care what language I use, what words I use. Everything I do is Black. So you can't tell me that something that I do is not Black enough. And it's like, that's what his lyrics kind of show, that we were born this way. It's in our generations. And so listening to it, like I said, I have heard it before. And I mean, he watching the whole Virgil Abloh thing, right? So in that whole masterpiece, it's kind of like you've heard it, but did you hear it though? Did you listen? And the feeling that comes from that, I mean, it was just a masterpiece. It was artwork, and it deserves to be paid attention to and not just like played in the background. First thoughts.
Love it. We root for everybody Black.
All right.
So Armand, as you know, a musician, like, what were your initial thoughts?
Man, I was waiting on this project. Like, Kendrick's, like I said, it's one of my favorite artists, and y'all know there was a big hiatus between Damn and then this project. So midnight came, was in my room, isolated myself, didn't want to hear what Twitter thought, and I pressed play. And it really took me on a journey. Just from like all the stepping sounds in the beginning. And I feel like every time I listen to Kendrick, I ask myself, like, what's he trying to tell me? You know, because we know he can rap, we know he can make whatever kind of music he can. So when I heard a track like We Cry Together, it was very like, journey is the best way I can describe it. Felt like he was taking me through almost what that hiatus looked like through his perspective. Especially since it was disc 1, disc 2, and just how you kind of have arcs in between of, okay, we're united in grief, but now we're moving forward, you know, I'm more Kodak Black than, you know what I'm saying? He's really trying to illustrate, hey, this is, at least it felt to me like he was illustrating, this is a journey that I've been on. And when we get to some of the more, I would say, introspective tracks like Auntie's Diaries and things where he's getting really, really personal and talking about subject matter that Kendrick hasn't before. You know, it's like year 10 or however long in his career. And for him to open up that new, almost like chapter, it was empowering. You know, I really felt like it was a journey. So that was my initial reaction.
Thank you. Absolutely. And you all like United Grief, love it for sure. Then We Cry Together. I was like, oh, and I'm gonna be so real, y'all. It was like, dang, you taking me back to a time where I was a child. And I overheard that, right? You know, and it wasn't normal. It still, you know, have some remnants, you know, that we working through. So it's like, dang. And when you're in that moment of intensity, right? You're not really thinking more so logical, just more so on how you're feeling. So the fact, like you said, it's a journey. I didn't feel like I was there. So I feel like I was there. So I definitely want to touch on that aspect for sure. Like, You know, we all had different reactions. Go ahead.
I'm sorry. Because you just said you want to
Don't be
touch on it.
sorry.
And I want to say that because you said it's not normal. And I said, I think the perfect thing about that was that it is unfortunately normal. That's normal. That it's happening to all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that, you know, with the whole idea of breaking generational curses, one of the big things in the Black culture is the idea that don't talk about it. So everyone thinks that it's not happening. You got mom and daddy at home. You must got a great life. No, I don't. Right. And I think that it helps us to say it is normal. It's okay to talk about it with other people. Other people do get it. And it's okay for us to be able to heal from that in a way that is real.
I agree with that. I have like big thoughts on that. And I feel like that's a theme in Kendrick's work, like largely in the literature, like that you can identify with your shadow self and really sit with the dark and like just kind of meditate on it and still be a person. You know, and I feel like that's why like it moves so many people in the Black community, because we've all had those experiences with ourselves and with our traumas, and we don't allow them to like take the center stage like Kendrick does in his work. And so when he does that, we all kind of show up on the inside, you know, and it allows us to kind of have a conversation where we come out saying we're gonna be all right, you know. So I really appreciate like that about his work, the engaging of the shadow self.
And for sure, I want to touch on what you said, Erica, the fact that it is normal, right? And I think, you know, we make it seem more so like a monstrous act to make sense of what happened in that moment of our childhood, right? Because we know that the person that we're experiencing is not the same parent that we know. You see what I'm saying? It's trippy. we can stay here all day, y'all. You know what I'm saying? We can stay here all day. But no, thank you for sure. Thank you. Don't apologize. Thank you for interjecting, right? Because once again, we're being vulnerable and we're being transparent. Because had you not said anything, myself, amongst a lot of others, wouldn't have connected it that way. You know? All right, so let's keep moving. Did anyone else want to touch on that before we keep going?
I was just want to say real briefly, I think we can all vote as a group that that's probably one of our favorite joints on that. We cry together. But I feel a little bad because of the fact that obviously music forms differently for everybody to listen to it. Y'all perspective was like so deep, and it was connected with like family dynamics. I was like, oh, that's the old toxic me. You know what I mean? So it's really funny that like we connect with it significantly. But for me, we talk about healing, right? I think a part of healing as a Black man is understanding that we got some toxic ways about ourselves. And in order to change that, there's a part of healing that needs to happen. So we will get into that later, but we tend to allow those things to haunt us and guilt trip us, but we don't do anything about it. And so with that, when I heard that song, I said, that sounds like me. Now, I ain't really just ever go that crazy, but I have words on me. You know what I mean? So I just want to, you know.
We could, and you know what? If we really want to get into it, if we're gonna do what we're doing, it could also go back to learned behavior, right? How did you learn to express yourself? You know, what feels comfortable? What feels relatable? What feels normal? You saw I did that full circle. What feels normal? But okay, we gotta keep going, y'all. Y'all gonna have me crying. I got my tissue, so it's okay. All right, so next question is, was there a particular song that resonated with you as a poet, Camille Iman? If so, why?
Yo, my favorite is also We Cry Together. You know, so much I think of like as a like young woman professional, like of the work that I do is like about presenting myself in like a certain way or like building a narrative about who I am as a person. And I listened to that song and all that got retired. I was like, yeah, fuck you too. Like, you know, I listened to that song and like there was this deep rooted empathy that came out, kind of like, you know, brother was saying over here. And I think like I could have all the words and be like, yes, like this is my shadow self generational trauma. Um, insert large words with lots of syllables here, but the truth of the matter is that that's a part of me that like heals in cycles, right? Like it's always there. No, it don't matter if I got a blazer on, what kind of car I'm driving. You know, if you cross some certain lines, you might get these. You know, it's just how it kind of works. And something about that song made me be like deeper honest with myself. You know, it made me be more honest with myself about who I am inside. And I also think that there's like a part of that song, because the song is not called We Cuss at Each Other. The song is called We Cry Together, right? And so it's like there's a part of the song where you can kind of hear the ache behind the anger, right? Like the anger on the outside, but that sadness on the inside. And you can hear that and you can feel it. And something about that was just like pulling at my heartstrings. And so to have those two voices in there, the man and the woman, to feel like both those halves in myself, to just completely retire all of the respectability politics that are required to be employed and just like be like, yeah, like that's me in that song. You know, I think that's why it was my favorite, because it really evoked like an emotional, like kind of jump out of me that I think is like the point of art. You know, there's something about your feelings that don't lie, right? Your feeling don't lie. And something about that song made me like tell the truth in my heart, if that makes sense. So that's why it was my favorite.
And you know, it's so heavy because everyone is talking about like them, like the shadow self, right? And related to it on a more intimate and personal level. And for me, I went straight to like childhood, right? And then, you know, as you all brought it to the platform, I'm like, well, you know, I'm reformed. I'm still reforming. So, you know, maybe I can relate to that too. Maybe I feel so. Was I that person? Possibly. All right, Sir Michael, what about you? What was your favorite listen and why?
Well, thanks for shooting this question to me. And I'm just, you know, enjoying hearing everyone share their point of view. It's funny, We Cry Together was probably the one that, yeah, I felt heavy, but I didn't like it. I didn't like it, but I felt it. I would say the one that I liked was Die Hard. I like Die Hard because the music felt good. Music felt really good. I liked the subject matter. It was from a place where I am currently. It was from a place where I've been. It was from a place where I'm hoping to grow to be. Like this unconditional love between like the person you choose to be with and the person you are. And like what kind of like loyalty and commitment you expect and deserve and are asking for. I think is something that like is just eternally resonant in my heart and in my soul. I also like really enjoyed that song, and I felt like a lot of the songs on this album I was listening to, and I could appreciate for how I appreciate Kendrick as a rap artist or a hip hop artist. But I don't know if it felt good as much as Die Hard. So, but it wasn't the most impressive song to me, right? Like it wasn't the one I would pick to represent the whole album. It wasn't, if I was Kendrick, the one I would pick to represent my skill and my talent. But it just felt like a really good song.
Hope I'm not too late to set the record straight. All right. This is one of my favorites. Shout out to Die Hard. Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Come on.
I'm not playing with y'all. This is not a game, okay?
And the thing about that line is like, yo, you're never too late to set the record straight. Like it's an eternal goal. Like it's an eternal goal. Mm-hmm. Right. And like Jeremiah said, like we cry together is a point in my life where I've never been, but was close to and don't ever want to be at. Right? Like this idea of like what's normal. Like I think of something being accepted in my mind as normal and sustainable. And like it can't be normal if it's not sustainable, at least in my imagination. And so like this idea that like I want to get away from certain things, but other things I want to remain consistently forever. And a diehard lover and the person to expect a diehard love is a beautiful thing.
Agreed. I see the faces. I mean, that's how I feel. I had the same face with everything that's been said. You know what I'm saying? Thank you for sharing it. Thank y'all for opening up your hearts. Thank you. So the next question, I'm coming to y'all. What inspired you to be let's see, Neil, what inspires you to be a poet? How were you able to relate to Kendrick in his recent album?
So what inspired me to be a poet was the fact that I could not vocalize what I was thinking. Like I would be like, I'm gonna say this, and that, but it didn't never come out that way. So it was so easier for me to, write it down and it just flowed. So it's just like, this is what I need to be doing. It's not easy for no reason. I'm good at this type thing. Also, I'm a very emotional person and I feel like my mind is going 30 miles per hour every single day. So I like to make sure that, I document everything. It's just easy for me. And what was your second question, Miss Slay? I'm sorry. You said Kendrick's album.
I asked you a lot in one sitting. Yeah, just how, as a poet, how are you able to relate to him?
So just as a whole, like everyone has said, just to piggyback on everything, it was a vibe to me. And it is art. He was being very vulnerable. And that's what poetry is. It's an art, and you need to be vulnerable to have it something for yourself. I think I relate to it just based off that vulnerability and to know, it's okay to say how you feel. That's basically just what poetry is to me. So I liked it, and I want to just also just comment back on the last question to go off what Sir Michael said. I agree with the We Cry Together. It was fun, but I think my favorite song was the Mother I Sober, just because he was so vulnerable on that, and it was a story, and he really put his heart into it, and that's what poetry is to me. You put your heart into it, you put your all into it, and the fact that it rhymed, I feel like was a bonus. Like he didn't even have to rhyme for it to be a slapper to me. So I really like that song, but yeah, that's pretty much it.
I love it. Yeah. I love it. I had to go back and listen to it a little bit more because I'm like, hold on, I ain't skip over it, but let me go back and try it again.
Yes, girl, right, please do.
I sure will, Miss Neil. All right, Miss Key, same question for you. What inspired you to be a therapist, right? And how were you able to relate to Kendrick as a therapist?
I would say when I was growing up, I was always the perfect child, or at least tried to be, as far as good grades, not getting in trouble. And I feel like I came from a household where perfection was not, it was expected type of thing. Mm-hmm. And so I had step siblings from my dad's previous relationships. And when they would come over to live with us, they would always come to live with us because they had got expelled or they had got the fighting. It was always something negative as to why they were coming to live with us. And I remember I want to say I was in the 5th grade. I was in elementary school, and they had came and they were talking to different guidance counselors or whatever. And one day the guidance counselor, she came up to me and she's like, "Hey, Kierica, how are you today?" And I was like, "I'm fine." And so she was talking to me, and I kind of was a little confused, like, why is she talking to me? I'm not in trouble. My grades are good. I'm cool. And she would check in with me, and eventually she kind of saw that it was some things bothering me at home as well, but I just wasn't that kid to emotionally respond to it. So how I was feeling on the inside and what I was going through, you couldn't see it through my grades. You couldn't see it through my conduct. You couldn't see it through the way that I behaved and interact with my peers. So I just thought that was really, really cool that even though I never said anything, I never to me in my mind gave any indication that something was going on. She knew that, she picked up on that, and she honed in on that. And I always said that I wanted to be able to see somebody despite all of what they were hiding and presenting. And so that's what made me want to become a therapist.
So
that's beautiful. I just want to say that.
Yeah, that is beautiful.
Home team, what's up, M-Town?
Right.
But no, just the
girl, that's a heart.
No, I did that. It's a heart.
It's a heart. It's not an M. Oh my goodness.
No, I did this for M-Town. I did.
I thought you were saying that Amanda looking. I was like, nah, girl.
But you know, at the end of the day, don't ever let nobody disrespect if they don't do it right, though. Big person. Not on one. Stand up. But just to go off what you said, like, as a guidance counselor, right? Mm-hmm. Same exact thing. I didn't even know what a guidance counselor was until I got into high school. And I'm like, bro, where y'all been at?
Right.
But it was a part of my testimony, right? So I wouldn't change anything. But that's why I became one, because my prevention counselor in high school was bad. She was bad. I said, girl, I'm gonna be you. Now I am her. So I do agree with you on that. I'm so thankful. I'm so thankful that she took that step, a step that you didn't even know needed to be taken. And I tell the kids all the time, as a child, you shouldn't be the sole person protecting yourself. It's not. Okay. But at the same time, being realistic, you know what I'm saying? We have to break those generational curses. It's ideal to feel that way and think that way, right? But sometimes we have to be that calm during the storm. And that's another thing I tell them, because I said it's not fair, but you may have to be that person for your parent. You know what I'm saying? They unpack a couple of things. And just the mindset of these kids these days, like, they got the internet, y'all. Google is everything. So I said, do you want my job? Because I'm just saying, like, you telling me, but I was about to unpack with you. So getting back on task, y'all, my mind be. So thank you so much for sharing it. And thank you to that counselor for seeing you. So as a therapist, how can you relate to Kendrick?
I would say that kind of piggyback on my why behind. So like when Camille Amon, when she was talking about the We Cry Together, when I first heard this song took me to age 7 and my parents arguing and me being confused as a child as to this is explosive. I don't know, should I be afraid? I don't know if I should call the police. I don't know if he's going to hit her. I don't know what's going to happen next. And then also, I love the way at the end of the song, it kind of transitions into them making up, and then it flows into Purple Hearts. And, Purple Hearts is kind of like the award that soldiers get when they're going through a battlefield. And, my parents had me at 14, 15 years old. They were teenagers. So a lot of times when they would have these explosive arguments, and then here I am now, 28, the arguments can still be explosive, but they're still together. So for me, it's like, as I got older and I started going through my own relationships, not Purple Hearts, We Cry Together seemed like normal. It didn't seem as abnormal. It seemed like that was just the way that it was. You argue, you fight, you make up, you get over it. It is what it is. I had to learn that, hey, you shouldn't be calling me out my name, or hey, we shouldn't get to this point. I don't want to get to this point. That's tiring. That's exhausting. And then with the Mother I Sober, that one was just like a wow, because like I said, I was the kid who didn't speak on things, who didn't say things. I was the one that was quiet. And so when things would happen, how he said, people asked him continuously, did this happen? Did that happen? Every time I was that kid that was kind of like, no, no, my mom and daddy not fighting, or oh no, this ain't going on, or no, this ain't happening. So I really appreciate for me, it was a journey of like, wow, some of the stuff that I experienced as a young adult, it goes way, way back to just the observations I had just watching my parents in their marriage. And then, me having to be conscious and say, hey, some of what I seen was not healthy. And some of what I seen, I don't want that. And I have to be deliberate in my choices to avoid that. But he made me feel like, okay, I wasn't the only one seeing all of this craziness and this madness, and that I wasn't the only one hiding and covering up, because on the outside looking in, I was a principalist, honor roll, debutante, all the clubs, everything. You would have never known behind closed doors the things that were actually going on. And his music, the whole album, I feel like, wow, like I felt that. Or I wonder if my brothers felt that when they, the things that they had going on, or my uncle. I saw my family, I saw my friends. I felt like he showed me this may be what they were thinking when they were experiencing what they were experiencing, even though I didn't experience it myself. So it was cool. I felt like, dang, Kendrick, you all in my family business and stuff, putting it all on a record,
It was.
Like, y'all being a little nosy looking in our house,
And what's so powerful though, because I was a kid. Well, my grandma got an earful from me. But other than that, I wasn't saying that right. But I would speak on stuff. I was like, bro, this ain't supposed to be happening. This ain't supposed to be happening. What's going on? But just imagine how powerful it would have been, right, if we were able to use our voice. So like we said, we breaking those generational curses. So kids talking these days, if they ain't feel it, they ain't feeling it. So I think we had to crawl, right, in order for them to walk and run. So once again, it's a part of the testimony. Beautiful. Beautiful. Y'all, who is power? It's so much power in just, the decision we make as far as our careers, right? The impact we're looking to make. And it's all rooted most of the time in what we didn't have, or what we needed, or what we wanted. And y'all figured out the recipe. I'm ready to see some more ingredients, you know what I'm saying? And y'all batches or whatever, you feel me? but I just, I'm emotional, if I do cry, just act like, you ain't really saying nothing. Anywho, but this is powerful, y'all. It's powerful for us to be here together, for you all to be in the spaces you all are in, for you all to choose the power that you have in yourself, right? And to give it to the world. And not backing down. Each one of y'all are a force. A force. And, if you have kids, if you're thinking of having some of the things, might be here later. But, you know what I'm saying? Just just imagine the beauty in their communication, right? And going back to Purple Hearts, it takes courage to love, you know what I'm saying? We'll go ahead and plug it in. But you already know. Shut the F up when you hear love talking. But I can't hear that though, because I need to fuss with him real quick because he got me messed up. You feel me? Jeremiah, what you talking about? You know what I'm saying? It's like, I want to be the last one to have, who gave you that? Who gave you that? Don't play no games, y'all. Understand something? I just ordered some, so y'all gonna get some too. Whoop. We're proudly. But honestly, you know, this is what y'all are showing right now. Because it takes that love, that vulnerability, right, to show up in this type of space and to answer these questions. Because we're not only talking to our inner selves, right, our shadow selves, we're talking to our family, our parents. we're healing our inner child. Okay, y'all, I got another question, but I just had to, I had to spill the beans on that one. I had to go ahead and spill the bean real quick. Let's see. So, Mr. Jeremiah Berry, you kind of touched on it, but and how it resonated with you. But is there anything else you wanted to add as far as what resonated with you and how was it healing for you?
Yeah, I'm glad you asked that question because some things that you guys have said, I wrote down.
And I love it. I saw you doing it too. I was like, y'all got anything else y'all want to add? Make sure you know what I'm saying. Okay, therapist, I see you. What's up?
But I was actually taking notes, you know, usually, and that goes to show how much I've healed. Times, I love to hear myself talk too much, and I can be so selfish in that regard to where someone's taking too long, I write down what I wanted to say. But healing has allowed me to write down what someone else is saying. That's so powerful, right? But what resonated is Dale said what poetry is being real with yourself, which often looks like being vulnerable and expressing what they feels like. Man, that is why everything about music me, because for so long I thought music was just a way for me to get a girl. I write you a poem, you like it, you know what I'm saying? we could go, right? But it was more than that. It literally, there would be times where I struggled. I realized like this was so much more important than just a way to impress someone, but it became a way to save myself from myself. When I couldn't talk to someone, when I couldn't I couldn't talk to them, not because I didn't want to, right? And so, but if I wrote it down, I said, hey, can you just listen, right? And a lot of times I could unpack that way. But the second thing was how you said, it made me think about when I read Love Languages, 5 Love Languages, and what the author said was the way we learn to love is typically inspired by how we wasn't as a child. So when we connect so much to those, you know, hard places to revisit, you know, there's so much power again, right, and strength that comes from the unfortunate. And so I think once we learn what it looks like to heal, we get to take power back from the thing that stripped away it, you know. But what's on, right? What's on resume? I would say shoes. Because I mean, literally I have those, right? So the title, I was like, okay, I don't really gotta listen to this, and I'm probably gonna relate to it, right? But no, when he began to sort of explain I mean, I don't really want to make this too specific, but for me, it was like the vicious cycle often seen in the Black male, right? And what I mean by that, we tend to struggle with expressing our emotions, and that's often, I wouldn't always say caused by, but definitely influenced by how we were brought up. So we fall and scrape the knee, wipe it off. Big boys don't cry, you know. Now I experience pain. I was taught early on, uh, no one cares, obviously, right? Because when I was a kid, you didn't let me voice how I felt. But B, it's not of a man to feel. It's not of a man to articulate that feel. And so, but then it goes so far on to talk about just like how some things that we'll talk about fathers, though they may have came from an unfortunate place, turned out okay for us, right? So the work ethic, my dad maybe wasn't around because all he cared about, like I said, I saw my dad lose his mom, and I asked him why he went back to work so early. He said his life goes on, and while that's a pretty how do you not sit with losing a parent? But what I took from that was, definitely grief, but like just understanding how diligent he was with providing for his family. That's what I took from that. Like, if I'm gonna get up and go back to work after I've gone through such a painful experience, that means I believe in providing. I believe in my due diligence in making sure that my family is great. And so that song would be what I resonated with the most. And I guess as a poet and therapist, the way I relate to Kendrick is how cool is it, right? That like the brother said earlier, I listen to Kendrick to see what he's trying to tell me, and sometimes when I listen to Kendrick, I have to listen to the album twice because my first listen is like, I'm trying to feel. I'm trying to vibe, you know what I'm saying? Give me some Mike and nod to. And then the second time is like, educate myself. That man is like a college course, right? You know what I'm saying? So I can unpack it. So I relate to him because he educates. He educates. It's more than just about saying something because it sounds good. I want you to take something from this that you can possibly either relate to or apply it, in your current situation. So
I love that you touched on like so many things in there, right? And you were able to just feel different aspects of just you growing up where you are now, where you trying to go. And then also you rolled into like the parents aspect, right? We all had it, their provider, right? Their work ethic, right? And just thinking about unpacking that for the parent, like, well, you weren't here, but I know you're supposed to be grieving right now. Give yourself, I can't give myself no more. What you mean? You want some food, don't you? You know what I'm saying? You want some clothes, don't you? Your mama, she asked me, because once again, like you said, men don't cry, boys don't cry. So if you got to get up, you just got to get up, no matter what kind of detriment it's going to take to your mental well-being, right? It's heavy.
I want to add just a little note because it made me think of something. The first time I remember seeing my dad cry. So my dad, and like some of the experiences, I'll be honest, I never saw my mom and my dad fight. My mom and dad have been married 49 years. I never saw them fight. But what I realized was, no.
we can't.
Even when you have great parents, and I hope that they don't see this because I love them. I love y'all. I promise I do.
And if they do, then they
But
understand.
what I saw was nothing. I did not see what it looked like to have conflict with someone you love. It was always, no, we cannot have conflict, right? So it was kind of like, so what do you do with emotions? So the first time I saw my dad cry was not when his dad died, was when his brother-in-law died. And I mean, I was grown, like I was in college. Okay, I done came home for a funeral. I mean, I'm like 18, 19 years old. And my dad was telling me about what he was trying to do, and he just cried. And I literally had to like hold him. And it was so weird. It was so weird, and it shouldn't have been. And so to hear everybody kind of talking about their different experiences, especially the men talking about their experiences with learning about emotions and stuff like that, I cannot imagine what it could be like to be sometimes say, if I'm 19, I'm gonna tell my daddy age, you get grown, old ass grown man, and cry in front of your grown ass daughter like that for the first time. Especially when I cry, is go in there, wash your face. You got 5 minutes. And my dad would tell you, that's what I tell him. You got 5 minutes. Go in there, wash your face, put some water on your face, get yourself together, come back out. That's you don't got time for that, right? Coming from that and to see that type of vulnerability, whether he knows it or not, that changed our relationship and my view of him, because damn, men do have feelings. So I just wanted to say that when Jeremiah was talking about that, and just everybody's experience, like all the men, like when they talk about that, it just really brought that to me.
But also, like, we as a community, we need the men's feelings, right? Like, we collectively in our families, in our schools, like, that is a thing that is like, people are suffering like babies, you know, like we need our fathers, our dads, our brothers, our cousins, like we really do need everybody. And so it really trips me up, like how we tell men to like put away the part of themselves that we need the most, like as a community. I think like maybe it's like in the extent that they like marry and are asked to like have some sense of intimacy or get a relationship or maybe raise a child. Like I think that there are like these like milestones in like maybe men's life where it like provokes them to think deeper. But I wonder why we don't start with that, right? Like knowing that these are the things that like as a community we need, right?
Go ahead.
I love where this conversation is going, because it's nuanced, you know, it's so deep. And I clap and I applaud and I raise the roof for a child never seeing their parents fight, because I think that that's the other side of the coin that produces really beautiful children and really beautiful people in the world that have an opportunity to learn how to deal with their emotions in different chapters of their lives. I am 31 years old and I am a father to an 11-year-old, almost 12-year-old boy. And I was raised without a father. And a large part of my life, there were things that I like wanted from that experience. And then when I started to hear the experiences of other people, I realized that like my experience was what it was. But one thing that I didn't see was my mom going back and forth with my father. Now, I also didn't see her in a loving relationship with my father, but I saw plenty of loving relationships. I saw her in so many loving relationships with people in the community, people at church, us. She was remarried once. I saw, you know, really loving relationships in the community and in the neighborhood. So you know, I think, and I've learned that like how I process my emotions is so important, and recognizing that I have them is extremely important. But I do call myself, and I do call my son at least, to the challenge that mastering your emotions is the goal, right? Recognizing that you have them is the prerequisite. Like for at least me and my son, it's not the idea that men don't have emotions, so you must show that you do. And it's okay for you to. Like I actually call us to, yes, recognize that we have them, but really take pride in the art of managing them. And maybe that starts with concealing them. But again, the goal isn't to conceal them, but maybe concealing your emotions as a man is a part of it, because going back to We Cry Together, like man's emotions can be very toxic and very harmful. And I think that there is a space where as a child, you shouldn't see certain things, and you'll have an opportunity to learn how to deal with them yourself. Now, maybe that doesn't work for everyone. So I'm not making a big claim about what's right or what's wrong. But I know like where my thoughts were before raising a child and where my thoughts are now, the fact that like I'm still growing, living, and becoming, but I also am teaching, educating, and raising a young man with a partner who's a Black woman. And right, where's this healthy balance of mastering your emotions that you recognize you have?
This deep.
Wow.
So as a father to a Black boy, was it hard for you to kind of tap into that vulnerability and just being open?
No, it wasn't hard because I was raised by a Black woman who poured so much love and confidence into her 4 kids that the one thing I knew I could do for sure was love this child. What I learned over time was that vulnerability is a challenge, and it's a thing you must call yourself to do every day. So, you know, as he got older, I started to be able to let him know how I was feeling and the reasons why. But for a big part of his life, he couldn't talk, understand, or even, you know what I mean, respond. So like emoting to him what literally wasn't doing us any good. Now I had my moments, but from his point of view as a baby, it wasn't something that he could recognize. So how I learned to be vulnerable was by being honest and being forced. And that's how I allow myself to cry. Is I'm like life will push you to be vulnerable. I just encourage that when that moment comes, you be honest with it. I'm not into crying just because you feel bad as a person. But life will push you, and we respond to living life in all different kinds of ways. So if the moment makes you feel like you need to cry, but don't use your feelings to manipulate your reality for your betterment and your gain. Process how you're feeling based on the reality that you're experiencing, and let's talk about the reality that you're experiencing. And that's how I relate my feelings to him when they get me there. But most days he doesn't see me crying, and I think that that's a good thing, because when it happens, he's like, man, what's wrong, Dad? And I'm able to let him know, and I'm able to have that moment, because it is a healing moment, right? Crying can be a healing moment. And I like it best when it heals me, rather than it's an opportunity for me to just unleash my emotions on whoever will listen.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
if I can, I really like.
Absolutely. I was gonna come to you next. I need to hear all the brothers in the room, because also women stand up. You hear what's up, but yeah, go ahead.
Nah. I really love the piece you said just then about vulnerability is a challenge, or because I was thinking about that even through the context of the album, right? Like it takes much bravery to be vulnerable, not just to yourself, because I think there's a first element of looking in the mirror and then realizing like, oh, I used to say the F word. My fiance, you have to come to terms with all these realities about yourself, but then as an artist, reflect that onto the world and share that with others. And even outside the artist context, to share that with somebody else, right? Like, hey, I feel like crying. Now I'm going to allow myself to express that and let you into how I'm feeling. That's a real challenge. And I think it takes a lot of bravery. It takes a lot of introspection and understanding of, like we always said, it's never too late. Right? Everybody's on their own journey, and the more you're able to tap into the true you, your true feelings, and understand how that can manifest inside yourself or how you reflect that onto the world, I think the better you can then control your reality into how I interact with others, how I influence others with my energy, how I, when I communicate with my family, my brothers, my little sisters, what role does Armand look like to them from the outside in? So yeah, I just really love that piece he said just then. It made me think.
And to add also very quickly, Sir Michael said, usually learning to express how you feel in the moment often comes by way of force. I think him defining that in that manner really, for me, specifies how expressing your emotion looks woman to man, right? Because I feel, when I mentioned earlier, as kids, little boy scrapes his knee, get up, wipe it off, right? So we were sort of stripped of our voice and the choice to express. Same scenario, put the woman. They're given a choice. Now they can choose to not say anything, but they also can choose to say something. So when we evolve a little bit more, it's like now life will often, or expressing ourselves will often be portrayed in life as a man by force. When we're hitting rock bottom, when things get really, really hard, when we're in crisis, right? It's like, damn it, I don't have a choice. And I'm forced to learn how to articulate what that is for my own sanity. But for a lady, it's always a beautiful thing to see how emotionally mature you guys can be, because you've had your whole life to practice. You had your whole life to actually tap into that and see what that looks like and allow it to form for you. And then the second thing was on the account of women. I'm so grateful for Black women, obviously in general, but for the Black women who were present during my upbringing, because while I still was unfortunately a part of the cliche Black boy, you wipe it off, I was still taught by Black women how to treat Black women. So a part of that still gave me the ability to express an emotion, and it was intimacy. It was love. It was respect. It was you worship the Black woman. And God damn it, I love Black women. So that's all I have to say about that there.
And that's a privilege, right? Because we know many Black boys who don't have a mom. So then we see how they treat our Black women, right? And the same for us as young women. If we don't have it, how we treating it, right? I know for me, so thankful to the Black women and men who showed up and showed out, right? But that's a privilege, right? So I share my family, you know what I'm saying? Y'all want to come to the cookout, just let me know. But even with that, right, we're not going to negate the fact it wasn't always peaches and cream, like you said, Eric. we look at what you said, like, girl, okay, like, but no.
And I'm over here like, if you only knew.
Right,
Okay. But it is a piece of knowing that the foundation is love. And so at the end of that, once you break through that, and like how everyone's saying, like you have to kind of like the introspection, like our mom was like, the courage that it takes. And like Sir Michael, like what you said, the courage that it takes, right? And so when you do that, and then people don't remember, like, I'm still an adult and I'm still your child. So once I'm an adult and I've gotten to that point and I'm still trying to be in relationship with you, now I get to say. And then how I say and how I set those boundaries, they're for me, and for me to express them in a way that feels good to me and that honors my feelings. Because ultimately, they're not going to change. And it's not really about them changing. It's about them understanding that the relationship has changed. And so we need to move in that way.
Absolutely.
I just want to jump back in super quick because that's something that that relationship dynamic between parent and child, especially once you reach adulthood. That's something that I didn't quite expect or know how to navigate at first, right? Like growing up, I 2-parent household, and my parents got along very well, showed me a great example of love. But my mother's mom passed away. My grandmother passed away before I was born, when my mom was a freshman in college. And so recently we've had discussions, right? I'll call her, or me and my brother, or have an argument or whatever. And my mom was vulnerable with me and was like, I'm gonna be honest with you, I don't know how to parent adults. You know, when I was y'all's age, my dad was in prison and my mom was dead. You know, I don't have an example of what this looks like. And that just kind of really changed my perspective on, like, okay, my mother is just a woman too, trying to figure this out, right? I also have a 6-year-old little sister, so I'm watching her parent another child. Like, it's weird. You know what I'm saying? I'm seeing all kinds of things and like, wow, like y'all got soft, but also I'm glad you're, you know, allowing her to express herself. And it's just really cool because now my relationship with my parents is much more like adult to adult. You know, I'm still their child at the end of the day. They still parent me, lead me. But, you know, I don't think that'll ever stop. But I'm able to see my father as just another man out here doing his best. I'm able to see my mom as another woman doing her best, rather than this holier than thou, or, you know, just almighty object that never fails, never experiences pain, never experiences confusion, never messes up. And that's allowed our relationship to get even closer than I could have imagined.
I love it. I love it. And, you know, I just want to get a floor to you all, Black men. For sure, for just being vulnerable and transparent, right? On just your process of what it took. Because not many times as women, Black women, we hear that or we see that. So for y'all to come on here and be that in a sense and own it and tell us what you needed and how you needed it and what you were able to become because of that and their resilience. Y'all, kudos, Black men. Like you said, Jeremiah, Mr. Jeremiah Berry, Mr. JB, you know, you didn't really have a voice nor a choice. It was just like, bro, dust your knee off. You gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? You know, put some spit on it real quick, wipe it out. You good? All right, come on, everybody, let's keep going. So it's like just a continuous of just continue to just put one thing on top of another, on top of another, on top of another. It seems impossible till it's done. It seems impossible till it's done. But yeah, shout out to Miss Camille Iman. We're gonna give about another 15. Then we're gonna go ahead and but no, I do appreciate the dialogue that we were able to express, right? And just how open you all were. And also just interjecting your thoughts and your feelings and your emotions, right? For sure, for sure. So for you, Miss Key, when it's time to be vulnerable, what is your process?
I think for me, I kind of was thinking on what Jeremiah was saying, because it kind of really made me think. Like he was saying how women, we have all these opportunities to practice it. And I think back on myself and I feel like I did it. Because I feel like I came from a household that was more so like, kind of like what Erica said, you know, you got 5 minutes, fix your face before I give you something to cry about, type of deal. So it really wasn't that much of an opportunity. And I can say, I really think in navigating friendships with other women and navigating relationships, romantic relationships with men, I really had to learn how to do that because I did not know how to process my feelings, because a lot of the times I didn't even know what I was feeling. So when I initially started my own therapy journey, you know, we had to go back to this is the emotion wheel. The fact
Mhm.
that it tells you about all these feelings and trying to figure out, hold on, what am I feeling? Am I feeling sad? Am I feeling mad? Am I feeling
Mhm.
confused? So I think I had to go through a phase of just like, number one, recognizing what am I feeling? And when I recognized like what I was feeling, then it's like, okay, trying to figure out how do I want to express that, because I do think I really appreciated what Sir Michael said about choosing your tears wisely, basically. I didn't want my tears to be like, oh, this is a woman, she crying, that's what they do. I always wanted my emotions to be relayed and received the right way. And also to actually be valued, because I think as a young lady, we all go through that relationship where you're with that guy and you're vulnerable and you crying your heart out and he don't care. He don't care. He really
them long text messages like
you sitting over here texting your little heart out. So
you waiting on it.
You're right. So you kind of have to learn like who deserves their vulnerability. Because everybody don't deserve it. Everybody don't deserve for you to get raw with them like that and for them to see you. Like he said in the lyrics, he's like, take this out, take that out, take this out, take
N95. Take it out.
Yeah, take it out. It's kind of like, to be real, it's like, how many relationships can you say that you actually took it out for? You know what I mean? And even with friendships, with not necessarily just romantic friendships, but even my friendships with my girlfriends, sometimes I have to like ask myself, how much am I gonna allow myself to be vulnerable? Because if I be vulnerable with you, what if I was vulnerable to you and you share my business with her? What if I'm vulnerable with you and behind my back, y'all talking about me on the butt of the joke? So for me, like, their vulnerability is still a struggle, because, vulnerability can be weaponized. So I think my biggest thing is making sure that I know what I'm feeling, how I want to express it. And when I do express it, being okay with, okay, I said what I said and I said it how I meant it. And it is what it is. No take backs. We done already went there.
No take backs.
It's there. It is what it is. And being confident on it, not being that person that's like, okay, I'm so sorry, Miss Erica, that when I expressed my sadness, that made you feel uncomfortable. Like, no. That pissed me off what you said. You know what I mean? So just starting to get to the point of, I don't care.
Having that boundary, right?
Yeah. And just, being unapologetic about what you're feeling, because I apologize for everything. I'm so sorry I was late. Oh, I'm so sorry. I'm sorry. And it'd be like, sometimes it went until somebody called me out on, she said, what you sorry for? What you do? And I'll be like, dang, I really didn't do nothing. What am I apologizing for? So just like, just realizing like,
it's real.
Yeah, like you okay. You okay. You cool.
And I got to just bag up that when you talk about vulnerability and the fact that with women, a lot of times people feel like vulnerability and emotion equals like a weakness or a sadness. And sometimes it's my vulnerability to show you that I am angry. I'm pissed off. Because a lot of times, especially as Black women, when you carry energy and you have power and you are certain of your feelings, people a lot of times feel like, whoa, like you doing too much or you asking a lot. But I'm not, though. And my vulnerability to share how strict I am about how important it is for love, like what love really means to me. And when I give to you, that I don't expect anything from you except for respect for the gift I give. If that's my vulnerability, that's not weak, boo. And to be able to show that and for people to hear that and see that. So I just had to back that up because you're so right with that.
And Miss Erica, I just want to shout you out because you still got that painting from Painting Silk from Clinical.
Girl, all three of them. Can you see them there?
And I'm just like, oh, these days, I miss y'all.
It be the Memphis, y'all. Be the Memphis handle. But you know what? And I'm just gonna touch on shout out to all the recovering people pleasers. We got a buddy for that too. Come, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead, hit us up. But so we're about to do, Nell, I'm gonna come to you because I want you to express, your process of becoming vulnerable. And therapist, I want you all to think of one word you give your clients. And is it something that you also live up to as well? Then I'm gonna read a poem. Then I'm gonna let y'all go. Do I want to? Nah, but I will. So my good sis in the corner could go. You feel me? We're gonna give it, we're gonna honor everybody. Okay, so Nell, just what's your process for being vulnerable?
So I kind of want to go off what Key said as well. Vulnerability in general is hard. Just to speak on my personal experience, like growing up, that was not cool. Like we never hugged, we never talked about our feelings, we didn't never have conversations about it. It just never happened. So to me, that was normal. So to be vulnerable, it was like foreign to me. And it kind of, I took that into adulthood with my relationships as well, because I'm not used to that. And I feel like I'm so guarded. And so even now to me, it's a struggle. But I feel like in a way, poetry kind of saved me. Because I feel like that's what my vulnerability is. I feel comfortable expressing myself in that particular way. But every day I feel like that it's hard. It's hard. I promise it is. So I agree with Keith 100%. Yeah.
And just to piggyback off y'all, like I became everything that I desired to have. So you may see, I ain't had it. We ain't say we love you. My dad did, but my dad came from a 2-parent household. My mom was raised by her grandma. My grandma was 18. They love me though. They love me. They showed it. We give, you know what I'm saying? Don't women, baby, I'm tell you, they strong. Hey, listen, you feel me? They gave me everything that they didn't have too. So when we talk about how it was hard and just also, ask your parents, go to the root. Then why you like that? Why you give me that? You know what I'm saying? They want to talk, y'all. They want to talk. I thought I wanted to talk. Like Mr. Jeremiah Berry said, like, I like hearing myself talk, but they do too. Other than fussing at us, right? All right, I keep going on now. We're going to have to do a part 2 because I don't think I'm done with y'all. I don't think I'm done. So, therapist, give me one word or thing that you tell to your clients, and do you also live up to that as well, or take that in stride?
So before y'all, I feel like somebody might steal mine.
Oh, there you go.
No, but seriously. So what my thing would be that was inspired by our dialogue on today was, while we cannot control how we feel, we can control how we respond to how we feel. So it happens, we're upset. Can't control that somebody cut me off in traffic and I got upset by it. But I can't control running them off the road. I can't control giving them the burger, right? So again, what I would tell my clients, what I do tell my clients, it's okay to feel how you feel. Can't really control that. But what you can control, what you are responsible for, is how you responded to it.
Who's going next? Eric, you ready?
Yes, I can go. So I'm going to I don't know why my computer acting full. Anyway, I'm gonna say just a couple because I talk kind of fast, so I'm gonna say a couple real fast. To piggyback off of Jeremiah, because that's the reason why I'm gonna say more than one, because you did take mine. because I believe in the same thing. I'll tell them like your feelings are constant. Okay, a lot of times you try to make your feelings be different. Your feelings are constant. What you need to focus on is like your thoughts and your actions. How can I think differently about what just happened to make me feel that way? And how can I act differently? I also tell my clients that in the effort to carve out comfortable space for yourself, you're going to make a whole lot of people uncomfortable. And that has to be okay. Because the people in your life who want to be there are going to mold to fit within your boundaries instead of you always having to extend your boundaries for them. And lastly, to give yourself grace during this journey in your life. And yes, I do abide by that. I believe that you can't preach nothing, especially as a therapist. The longer you're a therapist, and y'all know, and I know, y'all know, the longer you're a therapist, the more you got to put in the work for yourself. So I do not allow myself to teach somebody something that I cannot do for myself, because that it should be hard. And I need to understand what my clients are like, girl, this shit don't work for me. And I could be like, I get it. Let's try something else. I need to be able to do that, and so, yeah.
All right, Key, what's up?
So just kind of piggybacking off what they said about like the boundaries, making sure that like you stand firm on those boundaries, set them, stick with them. It's hard. It's difficult. I know, because usually the people that you have issues with setting their boundary with, it wasn't an issue just today. Like it might have been a lifelong thing or a relationship long thing. So, give yourself grace with that. If you fall short, and I've been watching Girlfriends a lot too. So, they have a lot of boundary issues on this show. So
absolutely
enforce those boundaries, stand on it. And then also, when you going through these type of things, let's not look at it fully just in, okay, this happened and this broke me. Look at it how this situation grew you. What can you get out of it? What superpower did you develop from that? So, know that whatever life throws your way, no matter how bad, no matter how horrendous, if you're still on this side of the grass, you learn something from it. You got something from it. So try to figure out, how can I turn this into a superpower? How can I reframe this situation where I am not the victim, but I'm actually like the person that, okay, I got it. I'm handling it.
Being a phoenix, right? Being a phoenix.
Right.
Okay, y'all heard from the therapist here. Y'all got this free game, you know what I'm saying? If y'all want to get up to the cash, you know what I'm saying? We got everybody. But no, listen, I'm finna read this poem. While I'm reading this poem, if you all can drop in the chat one word that you feel right now that I'm gonna shout it after this poem, then I'm gonna let y'all go for real. Okay. So our poem today is from one of my other faves, Nikki Giovanni, who's from Knoxville. This poem is called Love Is. Some people forget that love is tucking you in and kissing you goodnight, no matter how young or old you are. Some people don't remember that love is listening and laughing and asking questions, no matter what's your age. Few recognize that love is commitment, responsibility, no fun at all, unless love is you and me. Love Is by Nikki Giovanni. Purple Hearts. Shut up when you hear love talking. Period. What can you say? If God is a source, then I am the voice talking. Y'all the voices talking today. So if y'all could drop in the chat real quick, what's one word that you feel at this exact moment? And I'm gonna shout it out. Connected. And that's on Period Pooh. Shout out to Miss Camille Munn. What we got? Okay, Neil, talking about feelings. Are you, girl? Come on, sister. Come on, Black Panther. What else we got? Empower. Okay, Key. Appreciative. Okay, Miss Eric. What else we got? Armand, thankful. Okay. Who else we got? Mr. Jeremiah and Mr. Sir Michael. I feel full. Jeremiah, purposed. Ooh, y'all. Okay, I see why I invited y'all on here. What did you say, Mr. Sir Michael? Did you put your word?
Oh, I put inspired, but I think I sent it to
somebody else.
person.
Well, he inspired y'all. I love that. I love you all. Until next time, it may be a part 2 because yeah, we do got a bedtime. We got older. But is there anything else you all can think of? Definitely reach out. You all, everything you need to know about these beautiful people will be in the description box, fam. MC out. Love y'all. Till next time.
You. Love you so much.
Peace.
Yes,
Let's all connect. Offline, let's all connect.
Thank you so much.
Yes, I'm gonna put us in the
Let's
little
do it.
thing. I'm gonna email y'all with some thank yous, so then y'all can connect that way. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank y'all
y'all.
so much.
Peace.
Bye, fam. Good night.